So up next, we are going to talk about the zooming in for both Miro and Mural. I felt that that was emerging from talking about the canvas size. Those controls are on the bottom right, so I'm gonna hide myself so that you can see those controls. So just here, you see there is like 100%. That's the, when you click on that, when you click once, it just goes back to 100%. You can click the plus, the minus, you can click your mouse wheel or trackpad to zoom in and out in Miro. And the other thing you can do is fit to screen. So for example, I'm just gonna duplicate this just to create some content. Miro is already enlarging the screen to fit that, which I think is pretty nice when you're doing some exercise like that, where you're adding things. Fit to screen will basically show us whatever is on the board. So if we have multiple frames, multiple things, fit to screen is pretty handy. If I click on this scenario, in this scenario on fit to screen, I'll basically see everything, which can be pretty useful. The other thing that I was talking about is the map, is basically showing you the frames, the main images. Those trees are images, just to give a little bit of like human feeling about this digital space. So yeah, that is the map. So when you zoom in and out, you see where you are on the map. And some people like that. Some people use this as a way to navigate. I will describe in a few moments how to use something else to navigate. But the zoom is pretty useful. And one of the things to keep in mind is when you add, or when people add Postits, and I know we haven't covered that yet, but it's as simple as going on the button, clicking. People can add stuff like gigantic Postits. And so oftentimes, that's why the zoom is so important. Oftentimes, if you're zoomed out at 2%, people do, I was gonna say crazy stuff, but yeah, it is a little bit crazy. Create Postits like this, and maybe they don't realize that they're at that size. So it's important when you are working with groups to remind them to click on the 100%. So that is something to keep in mind. Something that I've honestly seen happening more in Miro than in Mural. I don't know why. Maybe because of the infinite canvas, in my opinion, is kind of like giving that feeling that, okay, is this like idea one? And then, so that can happen. And here's the other problem with this scenario. Once you create something like this, if you go on Post-it note, the next Post-it will also be of that gigantic size. So I've seen scenarios where, this is pretty extreme, but I've seen scenarios where people have different sizes of their Post-its, and it becomes a little bit of a facilitation thing to keep in mind that, hey, guys, try to click on size so that you can resize your Post-it to small, which is the size we're using. And after you do that, after you ask one of your participants to do that, the following ones will use that regular size. As a facilitator, you can ask them, hey guys, just don't do anything for a moment. You can go in and change the size. The problem is, as you see, they're all spread out. So then you need to rearrange them, and it's a bit of a flustercluck. So using the zoom, making sure that at the beginning people are aware of where the zoom is important. Mural handles it pretty similarly. You see right now we're at 1%. If I add a Post-it, though, I could run into the same problem where I'm like making one gigantic Post-it, but honestly, I have not seen this happening in Mural. I've seen, I don't know, probably because of the canvas size. And once you do that in here, the next time you create that 3x3 sticky note, it's not using the ginormous sticky note, which Miro does. So feature bug, I don't know, it's just like something too that you have to keep in mind, because I've seen people getting stuck and having to deal with a zoom nightmare in Miro. So pretty straightforward to solve after watching this. Just remind your group to click the zoom on the bottom right to be 100%. And when you design your board, make sure that when you see 100%, it's kind of readable. And when I put in the Post-it note, which is small, the text and the Post-it note are of kind of like the same size. So if I did something like, I don't know, this is unlocked, so I can I can play this with this a little bit. So this problem with the zoom is, for example, say that you create something like this, right? Proposed by this person, and you create a frame that is this big. Okay, so now look, the size of this small post-it is really tiny compared to that. So when you design a board, make sure that the size of the text and the size of the post-its are adequate. And there isn't one right answer. It really depends on what you're trying to do, and make sure that everything is kind of like using the same size reference. So one other thing about the zoom is that in Miro, there is this map, and I forgot to mention that in Mural, and the map can be hidden. In Mural, the map cannot be hidden. So this map will always be there. And so if I show you a space that has some more stuff like this guy here. So this map cannot be hidden. So some people will, will notice that, and just be aware of that. The settings, there is like a couple of settings here, but I think the main one is this is how you can move around, and this is how you can zoom around. So instead of like clicking on that to get 100%, there's a little dot in here, and doing that brings you to that. There's also shortcuts. Both tools have keyboard shortcuts, but yeah, this is the extent of using Miro and Mural zoom feature.